Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Hello to my Willow sisters. Woohoo!
It's so good to see you guys in face-to-face person.
Kind of.
Kind of. In 4 different time zones. And
I know.
it's wonderful to see you all. It's absolutely wonderful to be kind of in the same room and celebrating the appearance of our collection, Tortured Willows, on the Bram Stoker ballot for 2022. That's just unbelievable. It's just awesome. Anyway, shall I start?
Yes. No, I think definitely. And what we wanted to do was just highlight the beautiful HWA blog post that they did on us and just kind of supplement that. And if you haven't read that yet and you don't go to read the HWA blog on poetry, you're missing out.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you to David Cowan for putting that up for us and showcasing actually all of the poets who are on this year's ballot. So some really good reading there. My name is Lee Murray, and I am a writer, editor, and poet from Aotearoa, New Zealand. I have a couple of Bram Stoker Awards, a Shirley Jackson Award, which I share with both of which I share with Genevieve. I'm now a Riesling nominated poet and a Pushcart nominated poet, so pretty exciting. And I'm going to read a 26-word poem from Tortured Willows. I think I have the shortest piece, but I always have way more to say than everybody else, so go figure.
There's a lot of power packed in those 26 words, though.
Yeah, they're 26 great words.
So the poem is called At the Bar. He grins. Asian girls, you know what they say. What do they say? Nice slits. I grin too. Later, I oblige him with my boning knife.
Oh, I love that one.
This, this poem, it's been a long time coming, but when you wish you had a comeback, that somebody says something and you're so shocked and you cannot believe you didn't have a comeback for, and for years afterwards you go over in your head, I wish I said this, and if one year I said that, or, what about this? I could have said this, and I didn't. I was just completely could not believe what I was hearing. So this actual statement was made to me by an ex-boyfriend, very clearly an ex. And he said this to me, and he said, I've got mates who are really jealous, because, you know what they say about Asian girls. And I was just so horrified that I just couldn't think of what to say. And I've been reading since, about, social commenters say that if they say that, psychologists, and Genevieve, you'll probably be able to tell me because you're a psychologist, that actually we do this all the time to sort of make sure that the next time we have a similar social situation, we are better prepared to respond and we can influence people. Well, I've not had the situation again because he was long gone, and I've been married now for 32 years. But for 37 years, I've been cogitating over this, thinking what I should have said. So that 26-word poem was my response to that particular situation. So thank you for listening.
I do want to ask you, because you say that you'll be prepared for next time. Do you carry a boning knife?
Every woman should have a boning knife on her person for these occasions. You never know.
You heard it right here from me.
And also watch what you say at StokerCon when you go up next to her at the bar.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, I love that. Well, Genevieve, we have you coming up next, right? Oh, and I'm going to share yours.
Oh, yes. When I chose mine, I didn't realize it needed to be visual. I needed to have props. Not like Lee's one. Lee, you should have a prop. You should have a boning knife with you.
There we go.
Okay, I'm Genevieve Flynn, and I'm thrilled to be part of Tortured Willows. This is my first foray into poetry, and I'd like to thank Angela Lee for convincing me to jump in, because at first I was like, oh, no, I couldn't. I don't know anything about poetry, and you guys are all such great poems, and I'll bring everybody down with my limericks. But I jumped in, and here we are, and I'm so proud. So I've also got a little Stoker house like Lee for Black Cranes, and also the Shirley Jackson Award. And my short fiction has been published in Pseudopod, Flame Tree Publishing, and Crystal Lake Publishing. And I'm also now nominated for the Riesling and Pushcart Awards, which is something I would never have thought that I would be. So I'm going to read Guest of Honor, and I chose this poem, and I wrote this poem because it captures that experience of being exoticized. I think that sometimes happens when you're part of a diaspora. And you don't realize it at first, but then I think it kind of dawns on you that you're not like everyone else in the room. And sometimes you're expected to represent all Chinese or all Asians or all Asian women. And it's like you're the proverbial frog in the pot, and the water is getting warmer and warmer. And you don't realize until too late that you're not the one with the ladle. You're not the one with the spoon to eat. You're the actual delicacy. And I chose this form, this contrapuntal form, because it parallels that realization really beautifully. It's two separate poems that when you read them separately, they seem fairly benign. But when you read them all together, read the two poems together, it reveals a bit of a darker truth. So here is my reading. I'll read one side then the other, and then together. Guest of Honor, the girl. She refuses his eye, even though she's the guest of honor. She feels the gaze of all the diners. They wait. The aromas make her suddenly wish she was home, sprung, reminiscent of her kitchen, swirling around her. She stays silent. This is a pantomime. She closes her eyes and pretends she is not simply something to be consumed. The host. Ni hao ma. He tries to make her feel welcome. It was difficult to get her here. His friends, they came a long way, eager for an exotic experience. Note the ginger, the garlic, the shallots, soy sauce, chili. Marinating is the most important step. Chopsticks, everyone. We must be authentic. He picks up his knife. White meat or dark? They will never eat anything like this again. He knows. He takes his time to savor every slice. And then the poem all together. The girl and the host. She refuses his eye. Ni hao ma. He tries to make her feel welcome. Even though she's the guest of honor, it was difficult to get her here. She feels the gaze of all his friends. They came a long way, the diners. They wait, eager for an exotic experience. The aromas make her suddenly wish she was home. Note the ginger, the garlic, the shallots. Strong, reminiscent of her kitchen. Soy sauce, chili, swirling around her. Marinating is the most important step. She stays silent. Chopsticks, everyone. We must be authentic. This is a pantomime. He picks up his knife. White meat or dark? She closes her eyes and pretends they will never eat anything like this again. He knows she is not simply something to be consumed. He takes his time to savor every slice.
I love that.
Thank you.
I loved hearing it in your voice. That just gave it I mean, I've read the poem before and I thought it was powerful, but actually hearing it in your voice is really chilling. It was, yeah, something else again. That performance was really good.
Oh, thank you. I'm aware that I often sound like I'm 12. So, it's a bit hard to be spooky when you're like a chipmunk.
I feel like I have that same problem.
So can you tell us where you got this poem from? I mean, like, where did it, what sort of inspired it?
I actually was inspired from reading the Shadow Book of, I'm not sure how to say, Ji Yun. That was
Yeah.
edited by Izzy Yu and John Yu Branscombe, and it was based on the life of he was like a storyteller and a bit of a historian, and he was collecting all these stories and telling some of his own stories about supernatural happenings in ancient China. And one of the retellings was about cannibalism, and just that sometimes that there was famine, and they would sometimes eat people, and sometimes they would eat young women, and they would sell them as if parts of them as if they were something that had been butchered. And I just had that image, and that came together with that experience of being in a room somewhere, and you think you're the same as everyone else, but then you realize, oh, I'm the delicacy, I'm the exotic that needs to be held up for display, and that's that sense of being something for consumption. So I put those two together and came up with a dinner party from hell.
Yeah.
It works. Oh, it works
Wow.
so well. It's such an effective poem.
Thank you.
Great.
Oh, awesome. Well, Christina, how about you? It's your turn.
Okay, hi. I'm Christina Sng. I have a few books, collection of nightmares, a collection of dreamscapes. They both won Bram Stokers Awards the last few years, and I'm very, very grateful. And I'm so thrilled to be a part of Tortured Willows. Thank you. And it was really an opportunity to sort of tell stories from my culture, and the stories of my ancestors. And I really wish that when I was younger, I had more questions for my grandmother, because by the time I asked her anything, she was in her 70s, and she just told me, "Wa boy ki te liao," which in Teochew means I don't remember anymore. Or maybe she just doesn't want to say it or she didn't want to say it because it was really painful. The years she grew up, she basically went through 2 world wars, and as adults now we see what world wars do, and in this current time as well. And it's not a time that I would want anyone to go through, basically, being on the ground. So a lot of the stories that I've heard over my life, I've kind of worked into Tortured Willows. A lot of it have to do with ghosts and the supernatural, and a lot of fun stuff. So as I was reading through the collection when we were putting it together, the poems I had put together, I realized that a lot of them were really sad, and I think if you read them, they're for good reason, for things that are still happening in the world now. And so I decided to finish it off with with some triumph, and looking through the poems and deciding which one to read. I wanted to read the last poem, which finishes up my arc, and here it is. It's called A Speck of Dust in the Sea. And it basically, why I picked it is it charts, the journey of my ancestors, some probably 200 years ago, sailing across the Silk Road and going through that, very hazardous journey, and how brave she was all those years ago to do that. And here's A Speck of Dust in the Sea. This rickety Chinese junk, plankton in the great sea, and I, a speck of dust, squirreled on a jittery bank, sailing across the Silk Road from Canton to Po Lo Chung, amid choppy, angry waters, to the place they call the island at the end, for a new life, one better than the old. The lightning god watches us with a single eye, and when he blinks, he sends a blinding flash before thundering. Where are you going? To a better life, this dust mote replies, while the rest on the junk play dead, cowering, discarded wives on the bed. Do you deserve to? His voice resonates. It makes the boat shake. His words burn like chili rubbed in my eyes when I made a mistake. I no longer see my mother's enraged face. It ebbs and fades. I extinguish it. I walk to the bow and shout to the sky, I do deserve this. The storm subsides and the lightning god appears as a rainbow. Too late. All I see is red. I will take his power. I will inherit it. I raise my arms and send the sea to douse out the sun. The rickety old junk almost overturns. I stand my ground. And when I'm done, I turn my palms down, calming the tides, flattening the waves. My power is innate. My fears dissipate. It is in all of us. We are star stuff, just like the gods. I am a speck of dust, commanding the sea, and I will bring the storm wherever I go. Thank you.
Wow.
Whoa, what a reading. Wow.
That
was
awesome.
amazing.
That is so beautiful. This
I think I
been,
forgot to breathe.
I know. Yeah, I love that we got together and did this, because hearing these in your own voices is incredible. It is hearing all the nuances and the texture. So yeah, wow.
Yeah, I want to hold up a picture of, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, of Christina's grandmother here, that in the back of the book. So proud that we were able to put some of the photos in. It's really lovely. But yeah, she looks amazing, Christina. You look a lot like her, actually.
Wow.
That was beautiful. Obviously, you're a more experienced poet, because you really know how to read. Oh my goodness, that was wonderful.
Thank you.
Enjoyed that.
Yes, about 3 sentences in, I was like, why do I have to go last? I don't want to go after Lee, Jean, and Christina. That's not fair.
Oh no, last but not least, right? Because I'm looking forward to hearing this one and hearing you pronounce these words, because these words are tricky.
I'm looking forward to me pronouncing these words, because, I don't even pronounce English very well sometimes. And that is my first language. But yes, I'm Angela Yuriko Smith, and I'm Uchinonshu American, 3rd generation. And Uchinonshu is Okinawan, basically. And it sometimes gets mistaken with Japanese, but it is not, which is part of my poems that I keep kind of bringing out. I'm an award-winning poet, 3-time Stoker nomination. I do not yet have a house of my own, like these 3 lovely ladies, but I'm working on it. And I also publish Space and Time magazine. And last year, I was HWA Mentor of the Year for 2020. Yay. Like other people here I know, Lee, except 2019.
No, it's got the wrong number on it.
Oh, no. Yeah, mine is 2020, but yeah, it might say a different number on it. But yes, I did bring that up finally. But the poem I'm going to read is in Geneve, which translates to A Dog's Death. And I was going to read something else. I was going to read Four Willows Bound, which is kind of the poem that I wrote for us and the sisterhood and this book. And that's one of my favorite poems out of this whole collection, because it kind of to me symbolizes that sisterhood that we have, that resilience, and other women like us, you know, not even Asian or part Asian, but just women in general. We have a sisterhood like this. But the night that we were asked to submit these poems to the HWA blog, war broke out, as we're all aware of at this moment. And I just really wanted to read this poem in Geneve, because that's what it's about. It's a dog's death, which meant a death without choice. And in World War II, like all over the world, the people that lost out, which are the people that usually lose out, it's the indigenous peoples. It's the people that usually had nothing to do with this war. It's the children, it's the women, people who have no say, don't want this, don't care. They get nothing from this, but they're giving everything. And so that's why I chose to read this poem at this point in time, because of what's happening, because we're seeing another dog's war or dog's death happening. So, and this is in Geneve. Death grew fat that day, more than 200,000 killed in the battle, the final campaign of World War II, on Easter. Caught between Japan and America, no choice for the Luchuans. Country and culture both taken away. Battle of Okinawa for 82 days. Iron rain fell on 140,000, dying for nothing, dying a dog's death, for a nation not their own. No one won that war, but Luchuans lost most, only to have their country traded like glass beads. Memories live on. Printed in the genetics, memories return. So, and that is it for me.
Yeah, that's timely, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of always think that we're more evolved. Like, this would not happen because we all know that this is stupid. Why would anybody want to do this? And yet here we are again. So
I think that is kind of right. Partly this whole collection, you know, we still had things to say because, you know, we haven't moved on. You know, we make a little bit of progress and we're still not there yet. You know,
yeah.
there's been, you know, in recent times over the pandemic, we've had, you know, incidences of Asian people being attacked, and, you know, there is still so much hostility, and that's why I think that this collection, I've been so proud to be part of it, that, you know, it's sort of part of a groundswell and a movement towards, you know, opening up a dialogue and talking about these things openly in a way that we can process them. And beautiful poems, girls. I mean, these are beautiful poems. I'm so proud to be part of this collection. I just feel totally outclassed. And
Well,
just
me too.
Yeah. But I do think that it's an important message, isn't it? You know, we still have work to do, and these are the things that frighten us, and you know. So I'm just so proud of this collection, and being part of this sisterhood. So
And the
important.
reception, like, everybody has been, I think people want to listen to this. You know, everybody knows that their mother is the smartest person in their life, or their wife or their sister. And here we are, mothers, wives, and sisters, women with something to say. And so very smart for everybody who's listening.
Oh no, this was lovely, and it's really nice to be able to compliment the HWA blog, and they do such wonderful essays every month. They do really great features on poets, and so really nice to be part of that whole Bram Stoker selection this month. And so thank you to David for setting that up for us. Yeah, and it's nice to be able to hear these poems in everyone's voices.
Yeah, that was thrilling.
That was a lot of fun. And just that like, I wanted to mention that the HWA is also doing the Women in Horror Month celebration
in May.
Yeah. Just
yeah.
Oh no, that's March, Women in Horror, and Asian Heritage Month is May. Sorry, I got that wrong. You're right, Genevieve. I'm jumping in there. Yeah, Women in Horror in March and Asian Heritage Month in May. There's so much happening, isn't there?
there is. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one good thing about the HWA. The HWA is such an amazing organization for supporting dark poetry, women horror writers, you know. So yeah, absolutely cannot say enough good things about the HWA. So
Okay, I
I
guess
don't
we should
know.
let Angela go to bed since it's nearly 2 a.m. in the morning.
Thank you, Angela.
Oh, this is fun. Oh, all right. Well, thank you guys so much for doing this. Thank you, everybody,
Thank
for all
you.
the support for Tortured Willows. Super excited.
Yeah,
All right.
thanks all for listening in.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.